Meeple Nation Podcast, episode 586, Pickup and Delivery Games.
Welcome, citizens, to Meeple Nation. Grab your favorite beverage, pull up a chair, warm up those dice, and join us at the game table as we discuss board games and the board gaming world. Each week, the hosts of Meeple Nation share their love for board games and the amazing memories that come from playing games with some very outstanding people. Let us now join our hosts in their natural habitat, the game table.
This week, we kick off our discussion of pickup and deliver games. So we're going to line up a bunch of games and choose some to discuss.
All right, I'm excited.
We're going to pick them up and we're going to deliver them to your ears.
Love that. That's a great use of that mechanic.
Going to be so great.
We are the hosts of Meeple Nation. I'm Nathan Howard.
And I'm Douglas Stewart.
Together, we are the most Okayest podcast, the world's most Okayest podcast.
Yeah, don't forget that part.
We have a webpage that is just like us, pretty darn okay. Nothing exciting there, but lots of good links to past episodes. You can read some blogs, you can read some bios, you can find a link to all of our socials. You don't have to go to the webpage. You can always just email us at meeplenation@gmail.com. But if you are on our webpage, you can find a link to our Patreon. And our patrons are what makes the podcast happen. So if you want to be a patron too, jump on over to that link and become a patron and support that podcast. We love and appreciate our patrons.
Fantastic. Well, the Meeple Nation podcast is sponsored by GameToppersLLC.com. So go on over and check them out. If you are looking for a way to make game night amazing, or maybe you're just looking for that perfect gift for that special someone, head on over and check out what they have. You can convert any surface into an amazing game topper, or you can go all in for a full table solution. And due to some recent innovations and re-engineering, Berkey can now get those out cheaper. For the shipping, as I understand it, is much cheaper, so save a little extra cash
and production.
There. Yeah, so it's awesome. So same military grade aluminum, same powder coat finish, and other finishes if that's what you want. Same great mats, same great quality, but now just a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. I mean, he's way excited. Tariff talks got everybody scared. Prices going up. Berkey's coming to the rescue.
Love it.
Yes.
So go check them out. GameToppersLLC.com.
Well, Doug, with that, looking at my watch.
It looks like Highlight 30.
It totally looks like Highlight 30.
Nice.
So I have a couple little games that I want to talk about. You played both of these, right?
I think so. Which ones are you talking about?
Sequoia and Switchback.
I did play both of these.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, these are they're small little all-play game boxes. The all-play has several of these boxes that they've kicked out. And small little kind of tiny epic style games. Small box, big game inside. Yeah. And so we got the chance to play two of these games, Sequoia and Switchback.
Though I would argue that these are more small box, small game.
Yeah.
They're
very simple games.
I don't know if they're that epic.
Yeah,
Nathan.
Not epic.
But I did enjoy them both. They were fine for what they were.
Yeah. Sequoia is a quick dice rolling area majority game. Something we know Andy really loves. But in this game, it's not an area control, it's an area majority. So you are trying to control different areas and grow some of the tallest trees. And so you grow trees by placing tokens on them. And if you have the tallest tree in the area, then you're going to score the points.
Yeah. And you have to place your tokens out by rolling the right combination of dice. So it's not like you just get to do it no matter what.
Right.
And so guess who didn't do very well at that game? This guy. Because D6 hate me.
Well, you would have done better if Andy were there, but I think the D6 hate Andy more than you.
They might. It's close.
But I thought it was a very fun game. The game goes over 10 turns. All play is simultaneous. 5 dice are rolled. Then you're going to select 2 pairs to combine to create a number and then place a token in that tree. And then, not in that tree, but in that area. And then you want to decide if you want to focus on trying to just dominate one clear area and try to score those points, or if you want to try to diversify and come in second in a lot of those places.
And you have to diversify.
Somewhat, yeah.
Right, because if you let other people, they're all worth points, and you let people walk away. I think the thing that's fun about this has that moment where, because when you roll your dice, everyone keeps them covered. And then you decide which combos you want to use to create the two numbers that match, the areas out that you've laid out. And then everybody reveals at the same time. So there's no like you can't adjust your dice after you see what somebody else is going to do kind of thing, right? It's all simultaneous play. So it kind of has that moment where everybody's selected, but you don't know what everyone's selected. And then you're throwing your little leaf tokens or whatever down on the trees. And you're like, oh, come on. It leads to that. Like, are you serious? Like 3 other people use that number or you'll get like a 12 and you're like, yeah, I got double 6s. I'm totally going to use those for that 12 because there's not a lot on there. And then 3 other people rolled a 12 there and you're like, what? Come on.
There was a lot of that.
Yeah. Or snake eyes even, it's the same thing. And that, to me, that was the fun part of Sequoia, was that like sort of revelation and everybody going, oh, what did you pick? Oh. And then every now and then you have a round where you're like, oh, sweet. I totally snuck those in and nobody else is on them, that kind of thing. And that also feels kind of good. So really fast game though. Like, I don't know how after the teach and play, this was definitely under 30 minutes.
Yeah. It was supposed to, the rule book says open the box, teach the game, be done in 15 minutes. So 5-minute teach, 10-minute game.
We had, I think there were 6 of us playing. I think maybe 5.
Well, there's 5, yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely took more than 15 minutes to play the game, but not by much. So.
But I thought it was a great game. Fun little game, easy to pack around and play. Something that is very accessible. And just like that, Switchback is the exact same way. Switchback is a quick, engaging tile-laying board game where players are trying to create the longest continuous path, and these paths represent hiking trails. And what you want to do is you're going to score points by having the most hikers on these trails. And so players are going to take turn placing tiles from their hand onto the board. After placing a tile, they can either take one of their hikers or they can buddy up those hikers and put 2 of them down. You're just constantly making choices of what you're going to do, how you're going to put them down, and where you're going to try to control, because it's very similar to Sequoia, because you can't just focus on trying to expand one trail. Sometimes you're going to have to try to build a different trail and hopefully connect those.
Yeah. I mean, and the idea is like everybody's kind of building different trails kind of because they have their tiles and they're wanting to score points on those. And then you kind of want to sneak in. But in order to sneak in, you're extending the trail and you're putting, your hikers on the trail, but you're also making the trail better for your opponents. Yeah. So finding that balance is kind of an interesting puzzle to solve with this one. I didn't care for this one quite as much. This wasn't like totally my cup of tea, but for a 15-minute game, it was fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Simple rules, some tough decisions, quick play time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I thought those were 2 really fun games.
Excellent. Yeah, I like that. That's great. I recently got to play, Brad and I sat down and played Tiny Epic Cthulhu.
I haven't played this one. I really like to play this one.
Yeah, it's another one of the Tiny Epic games. This is Scott Alm's design. I backed this, and there was an expansion that came with it. We did not play with the expansion, so I'd be curious to see how that plays. Now, we played against the kind of level 1 boss, the sort of easy boss, because the game has 4, and they get progressively harder. So this was against Nyarlathotep, I think is close to a pronunciation that might work for that elder god. Anyway, you are playing against this elder god, and it's kind of cool. It has like a spinner, and then it has these different locations that go around it, and you are represented by a meeple that's going to be moved. Or you're going to move around, and you've got based on the spinner and based on some other factors, you are going to basically move around this thing and take actions. And it has some interesting mechanisms. It plays pretty smooth, although there were a couple parts of it that I thought were unnecessarily complicated. Like you're kind of just moving some stuff around from thing to thing, when you could just, I think they could have streamlined it just a tiny little bit. I also felt like it was a little easy. Like this was one. Yeah, we kind of cakewalked through this first. Like it really, neither one of us felt like it posed too much of a challenge. It was fine. So
I like it when co-op games have a challenge to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can definitely see how, as the game gets harder, I can definitely see how that difficulty is going to build. But the difficulty for this is just, hey, it's a little harder to do these certain things, and you've got to pour a little more resources into doing these things. It's kind of like little knobs you turn, as opposed to like, hey, this has some fresh new challenge for you, kind of thing. Like that was an easy elder god, but this elder god has this mechanic, like that. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think there's like a tiny bit of that, right? There's a tiny bit of that in this tiny epic game. And I don't know. I want to play this one again for sure, because I do think that it's a fun little cooperative game, and it was fast. I mean, we played this. I read the rules and taught it to him, and we had this played in under an hour.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it wasn't too bad, but you're just moving around these locations. You're trying to build out the pages of the Necronomicon, and once the Necronomicon is built, you can sort of take on the god, and like you kind of have to run from him until the Necronomicon is done. And then once that is done, then he becomes vulnerable, and then you can kind of do some different things to attack and weaken him and disrupt the summoning, so to speak.
Nice.
And so I liked it, and I liked some of the chaos that spinner included. Though I will say that it does have the problem that some spinners do, which is where you flick it and it hits it like. It hits the back of it spins so fast around because it's just two-sided and small that if you flick it hard, it hits the back of your finger before you can move your hand out of the way. And so it led to a lot of, kind of trying to like flick
misfires.
It really fast and kind of having those little misfires and things. So it's a gimmick for sure, but it's one that was okay.
Well, it still sounds like something I want to try.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And at higher difficult, like that's what I want to try. I definitely want to try this with some more difficulty, and there's an expansion that adds some stuff too. So
excellent.
We'll definitely get this one to the table some more. Overall, I did enjoy it, but I have some like with some reservations.
Yeah.
But it was
Allowed.
good. Yeah. I feel that way about a lot of those tiny epic games, if I'm being honest.
Before you got here, I was sitting, and right behind you is my stack of tiny epic games. And I was just thinking, do I need to keep those? Is that something that because it's not something I go to play, and Tiny Epic Pirates was on top, and I don't dislike Tiny Epic Pirates, but Tiny Epic Pirates is not a game I'm like anxious to pull off the shelf and play.
Yeah. I sometimes feel, and I hate to say this because I think there's a lot of creativity that goes into these games.
For sure.
But a lot of times the Tiny Epic games, for me, they kind of feel like, I'm really glad I got to play that. I've had the Tiny Epic Pirates or the Tiny Epic Defenders or the Tiny Epic, dungeon, whatever it is, And it's like, I've had that experience now. I'm really glad that I did, but I don't necessarily need to have it again. And that's kind of where I think I find a lot of those games. I think they're clever and I think they're fun, but I don't know that they're like highly replayable for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I guess that's what I was trying to say right before that. But yeah.
No, I get it. And I guess I'm just agreeing with you.
Yes, we agree together.
Yeah. Way to go, us. High five.
All right. Well, this week we are kicking off our discussion of pickup and delivery games. The pickup and delivery mechanic, or P&D as the kids on the street call it.
Ooh.
The pickup and delivery mechanic in board games is a core gameplay loop where players acquire specific items or units. Sometimes it's cargo, sometimes it's passengers, sometimes it's goods.
Money.
Yeah, I was going to say goods, but that was cargo. But yeah, money.
Water.
Yeah. Cargo, goods.
I'm trying to think of the ones I know. I keep thinking of Wasteland Express. Ammo. They need ammo.
But you're picking that up and you're delivering it to a customer or an endpoint or to your team that is in need. So it is a fundamental concept that simulates logistics, trade, and transportation challenges within the game's theme. So you have goods, passengers, resource. That's always something that needs to be picked up. Pick up at a location, deliver it to another location. Delivery locations are destinations somewhere on the map that you got to get to. Sometimes you don't have a path. Sometimes you have to create a path to that. A lot of train games fall into this category, but there's a lot of games that are not train games that fall into this category as well. Often you're going to have capacity limits so that you can't just pick up everything and move it. You have to pick up, and then later in the game, you're going to make that same run, hopefully make it more efficient because you've either advanced your path or advanced your transporter, whether that's a train, a starship, or Shane.
Yeah. Well, that oftentimes is a lot of the fun of these types of games, is making that decision of like, okay, am I going to make this quick delivery now for some extra cash or for, X, Y, or Z benefit? Or am I going to take a little extra time to increase my capacity, my ability to pick up, and how much I can deliver for better rewards down the road? So you're constantly kind of evaluating that, that give and take there between, am I upgrading my capacity or am I just doing the thing? And that, I think, is oftentimes what makes these games enjoyable for me.
Agreed. So you have to include logistics, economic values of goods you're transporting. A lot of it is you're going to have a lot of adventure and quest-driven games. And then you're sometimes have worker placement where you got to get a worker here. They create the good and move the good and the worker, or just the good. So overall, the pickup and delivery mechanic adds an element to the game that excites us. We have quite a few pickup and delivery games.
Yeah, there definitely are a few on the list.
So with that, let's dip our toes into the pickup and delivery mechanic. Just don't stand on the track. That third line is live.
Yes,
the third track is live.
It is.
The third track is live.
Third track is live.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So I don't think I can personally. Now we have kind of already selected our top fives and we're excluding them from this conversation. So if there's some really obvious ones that we don't mention that we've talked about a lot or that we've mentioned in the past or that are just obviously really good, odds are pretty good that those will be on our top five. We'll talk about those next week. So if we're going to have this conversation and it doesn't include our top five, I have to talk about Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Now, such a good game.
This is a great game all around. The pickup and delivery on this is fantastic. I love this game. Now, it doesn't make a top five for me because the pickup and delivery mechanism is mixed in with so many other great, fun, cinematic, incredible things to do. There's fighting and there's all these other things that you're trying to do. But the ultimate goal is to grab the treasure and get off the boat.
Yeah.
And the goal that sets for the individual, like pirates, for how they play the game and for what they do, I just think is fantastic. And the way that it all plays out in this very cinematic fashion, we've talked about this before, you have to play with the Kraken, right? So you're trying to...
Must.
Yeah. You've disabled the ship. It's burning. It's on fire. Things are exploding. All this stuff's happening. And then the Kraken comes in and starts attacking it. And you are just trying to loot the dang thing of its treasure and get off on your little dinghy so you can go back to your main boat. And it is incredibly challenging. This is a game that provides a huge challenge. It's a cooperative game. It has some, I love how the action points work on this, how you can use what you have, but if you don't use all of them, you can temporarily pass them to the next player. This just has some mechanisms and things in it that I love, all wrapped up in an amazing theme that I think is just great. And every play we've had of this has felt cinematic. And I'm using that term very, very deliberately because not all games feel that way. This felt like, the whole time you're playing it, you're like, I am in the middle of a Pirates of the Caribbean movie or just some great pirate action film where you're down in rum and slaying, skeletons and looting treasure and jumping off the ship. And it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's such a great game. And cinematic is spot on.
Yeah.
So one game, I'm going to go back to 2006 for this game. Looking at this list, this game stuck out. And this is a game that I'm pretty sure you have not played, and I need to introduce you to it and play it. It's not an A+ game.
Okay.
It's got an overall ranking of 6.5.
I'm sold.
You're sold. It has not a ranking, but it has a grade of 6.5. Overall rank 3,531 on BGG. This is Space Dealer.
Okay. Yeah, I have not played this one.
This is a very, very unique game for the pickup and delivery mechanic. I like it because you have a ton of sand timers that you're going to use in this game. So you're going to use your sand timer as representing of collecting a resource. So if you have your ship somewhere, you're going to turn that sand timer over, and while that sand timer is going, your ship is loading up goods. Or somewhere else it could be mining for goods, or somewhere else it could be it's moving. And so you can't move that ship until it completes its journey, and that journey is represented through the sand timer. I think this is a very unique game in the fact that it really monopolizes these sand timers and has you very involved with what's going on, and you quickly lose track of timers. You're supposed to be watching all these timers go down, but then you see a timer that ran out, and you're like, how long ago did that run out? And just trying to keep track of everything to get your goods picked up, delivered, and fulfill your orders. This is like I said, not an amazing game, but a game I think that is very fun. And as we talk about some of these not older mechanics, but as we talk about some of these mechanics and these older games pop up on the list, I was like, man, I really need to get this game out because I had a ton of fun with this game. And I think you'll very much enjoy the unique of it. The unique of it? How about the uniqueness of it?
It sounds unique, so I'll probably enjoy the unique of it.
Yeah. You have to neek up on it or else you lose.
Okay. Yeah, how far down that path do you want to go? No, it sounds interesting, but it's definitely one I have not played and would be interested in.
Yeah, it is one that goes 3 to 4 players. You get a second copy. I have 2 copies, and you can easily expand that to 8 players.
Nice. I like it when games do that.
Yeah, and when you expand it, it doesn't add time.
Great.
So yeah, Space Dealer is something we should get to the table.
Love it. Let's do it. So the next one that I wanted to talk about is one that I have not played for a little while, but it's one that I do thoroughly enjoy and one that I would like to get out again soon. This is Century Goal. I play the Golem edition, the Century, whole lineup of games, Century Spice Road, Century, all these things. So the Century Golem edition, Eastern Mountains, is I think a great addition. There was the third one, and off the top of my head, I don't remember the name of it, and I think it was my least favorite of these Century games. But this middle installation, I'm pretty sure this was the second one in the series. But Eastern Mountains is, I think, a really fantastic and fun game. And in the game, essentially, what you're trying to do is establish a trade route. You're trying to establish trade routes to different places. There's all these mountains that have resources and things that you can do with those resources, like resource manipulation. And it uses all those gems that all these games do, those 4-colored gem types.
Right.
And so the whole idea behind this, and again, it's been a little while, but from what I can recall, you collect those gems by doing certain things and going to certain places. And then by delivering them to different places that you've established your trade route to, you are able to convert them into other gems, as you do in all of these games, right? It's all about the gem conversion, right?
Right.
So you deliver, you convert, and then you can pick those up and do other things with them. And I remember this one being a lot of fun, and I remember that mechanism being a lot of just highly enjoyable as everyone's trying to get their caravans established and moved out across the map.
It's a game that I like the race of it that doesn't feel like necessarily like I'm getting behind. Like if you're playing a game of Heat and you obviously are behind because you've spun out 2 or 3 times, speaking from experience, and you've lost. Where with these Century games, you still feel like it's not a clear I've lost the game until you get to the point where you're starting to kind of add up some of those scores and see who the clear winner is. But I like that the game kind of keeps me more involved in, as opposed to something like Heat where I'm like, yep, I'm out.
Yeah. Heat is real hit or miss for me. It's a great game and I really like to play it, but I definitely understand what you're saying. There's not a great catch-up mechanism if you have clearly lost the game.
Right.
This one gives you that same anxiety, but works, I think, a little better as far as that goes.
Yeah. So Escape Zombie City. This game is, part of the Escape series, but this one was, as with most zombie games, you have to go out, pick up tools, weapons, whatever you can to defend against the horde of zombies, and then be able to defeat zombies, clear a path, and be able to escape at the same time. Escape games, I really enjoy the soundtrack that comes with these games and the anxiety that these games induce with trying to roll and to work together to both coordinate some of your dice when your dice get locked and have to have somebody come into your room and help you unlock your dice. This game, I think, Zombie City adds an element of both further anxiety and I think enhances the cooperation feel that you get with Zombie City as opposed to just with Escape from, the Tomb? Just Escape from...
Yeah, that sounds right.
The Curse of the Temple. Escape Curse of the Temple.
Okay, that sounds right too.
Yeah, that sounds right.
They all sound right.
But Zombie City, I think, was great because it does include that overwhelming horde of zombies coming at you and makes that intensity climb when you feel those zombies approaching. So I think this is I like Escape. I think Escape's a fun family game, but you add Escape Zombie City, and that increases that element, makes that game even more enjoyable for me.
Excellent. Well, I think can I say classic at this point? I think a classic little series of games, the Forbidden games that started with Forbidden Island, right? And then you had Forbidden Desert, and I feel like there's been a couple more that have kind of like
there's got to be at least
that I haven't followed. Forbidden Skies, I think, was one.
Yeah,
and I feel like there's another one, or maybe it's announced and coming out. I'm not sure. Anyway, I've played most of these at least once, but the one that I keep on the shelf and the one that I do go back to from time to time that I find thoroughly enjoyable is Forbidden Desert. I really love the sandstorm mechanism of this, where you have the storm that's constantly moving and kicking up sand, and you've got to work your way through it to uncover all the parts of your crashed ship. And then the challenge becomes, can we find all of the pieces of our ship, pick them up, and deliver them back to the base so we can put it all together and escape before the sandstorm completely overwhelms us. And
everything sinks.
Yeah, and everything sinks. This game, I think, has a really, really great balance of difficulty. It's it's obviously cooperative experience, and you're playing against the game. You're kind of playing against the clock, so to speak. But the sort of necessity that it forces players to have to work together to use their powers, their player powers, to, you have to use those. You have to leverage them and really work together as a team. Most of the time. I mean, I've played a couple games of this where we just got super lucky, and it was not much of a challenge. That's rare. Right. Most of the time, this game provides a really, really interesting challenge that requires players to work together to solve the problem of, again, picking up the parts and delivering them back to the base so you can escape. So that's the whole premise of the game, right? Is going out and picking up the parts and delivering them. And that's the conceit. That is the game, as you're fighting through all the sand to do so. And it actually works really well. This is I think a great game. It's highly enjoyable.
So one that I have, and I have the map packs that go with it that weigh more than the original base game. This is Maglev Metro. No. How about Maglev Metro?
Please leave all of that in. That was so good. That was so Nathan.
Maglev Metro. Metro. No. Maglev Metro.
Nope. You still didn't get it.
Maglev Metro.
There you go.
There, first try. Goodness.
That was amazing.
Yeah. So this is one that I really want to get to the table again, because I really kind of enjoyed this game, and I have all those extra map packs.
Yeah.
Which is a ton of cardboard in a box that weighs, like I said, like probably 3 times what the base game weighs, because it's just cardboard boards in it. But but this game is very nice because you're creating your paths for your elevated metro, and you have to pick up passengers, and you have to pick up goods, and you have to move them along the board. And there's a lot that is going on with this game that kind of expands just from picking up and delivering, because you have the ability to, if I'm recalling right, you have the ability to use other people's tracks. And because I think most everything is you're worried about just getting from people from stations to other stations. Yeah,
like there's different types of passengers and they all need to go to different places. You're also building out those tracks with those acrylic tiles.
Yeah, so which are really nice.
Yeah, that really cool 3D element. And there's multiple lines on each tile, so how you place it extends the different lines in different ways.
Yeah, it's been several years since I've played this game.
Yeah, and I haven't played this one yet. And this was one that I actually picked up and came prepared to teach, I think at a BryceCon or something like that. And then you guys ended up playing it while I was playing something else. And I was like, oh, wah, wah. And I ended up, but then you had bought the map pack and I was like, okay, so Nate has it. And I ended up culling my copy, but it's still one that I've wanted to play for a very long time.
Yeah. And I need to get it. There's a new Kickstarter that was out recently and I passed on that, but still, I think this game's pretty fun and it needs to be revisited again. So again, that's what going over some of these lists are like, wow, we need to get this game to the table again. But that is that game, Metro, something Metro.
Maglev Metro.
That maybe, yes.
I love it. Okay, so one more that I wanted to throw out there real quick. This is one where the pickup and delivery is only a small portion of the game, but in The Witcher Old World, which we've only played once, and I loved it. This has a really cool sort of hand management deck building. I mean, you're sort of customizing a deck that is your combat deck as I recall, and you're going out and you're fighting these different monsters. And the first one to get a certain number of trophies wins the game. But as part of this adventure that you're having as these witchers that are going out and traversing the land, you pick up quests, and some of those quests are pick up and delivery. So this is not a pick up and deliver game per se. However, it does have some pick up and delivery elements that I think make those quests really fun. And on top of that, it's just I enjoyed it quite a bit. I ended up going out and picking up some of the expansions for it, and we still have yet to bring that one back to the table. So that's one I want to bust out soon.
I would love to try it. Yeah. I mean, I'm always trying to try new games for sure. But yeah, that's one that you guys played at the other table, and I looked wantingly at it.
Yeah.
And need to play that one for sure. So I would love to experience even just the base game and then add in some of those extra elements as well. I'm very much interested in that.
For sure.
So another classic game that I really enjoyed is Pirates Cove. This is 2002. There is another game that I'm having a hard time remembering what it is. It's very similar to it. But this game has a little rondel, a private rondel that you are going to use to direct where you're going to place your ship. So you use that, you're going to pick where you're going to go, and then you put it face down. Once everybody has their rondels down, you're going to flip it over, and then you're going to see if people went to the same island. Because you're pirates, and if you go to the same island, pirates don't just hug and say hello. Pirates got to fight. And so you will shoot your cannons, but you have to have a certain number of cannons. And if you have too many cannons, if you have too many cannons and not enough crew, then you can't fire all your cannons. Whereas if you have too much crew and not enough cannons, you can't fire those cannons either. So you need to have equal number of crew to cannons. And then once you try to do not some volley attacks, that's with the cannons, but if you try to do some other attacks, you're going to try to damage your opponent's ship. And your goal is to get either their sails, their hull, their crew, or their cannons down to 0. And if you do, then that pirate has to flee. And if they flee, you gain a victory point, which is great. And then that leaves you to plunder the island. So you take the island card, and you'll know what the plunder options are when before you head to that island, which is part of the intrigue, right? You're going to go, oh, I really need that place, but I know that Doug really needs that place as well. So I'm going to try to choose differently, and or I'm going to choose deliberately to go there to try to take you out. And that's a great thing. So this is my daughter, when she was in junior high school, she made a diorama, and she took one of my pirate ships for her diorama. And then it was right at the end of the school year, and I didn't get my little ship back.
Aww.
So I lost my little pirate ship. But Andy was really awesome, and he made a mold, and he was able to make me a replacement ship. And I can't even tell which ship it was. He did such a superb job. It was awesome.
Aww.
But this is a game we played at SaltCON, we played it at BGG-Con, and we played with Logan, and I kind of picked on Logan. And so Logan doesn't like this game.
Nice.
Yeah, but that's Pirates Cove. It's
cool.
A great game, 2002.
Nice. Well, one final one that I will just make mention of for me.
Okay.
And this is another one where pickup and delivery is not the core mechanism of the game, but it can be a really important part of the game, depending on what mission you decide to play. And this is a game called Waste Nights. This is in particular the second edition. And this is a post-apocalyptic game set in the Australian outback. And it's fantastic. This is one my son and I have played a number of times. It's actually really, really good. The writing is fun. The gameplay is fun and snappy, and it lets you really build a character and traverse the wasteland and feel like you're having an actual real big impact. Like the most of the quests are like the things you do are affecting the continent kind of level kind of stuff. Like it's big ticket items, not like street level, stuff for the most part. There's some exceptions to that, and it could be that maybe that's just the stuff that we've played. I don't know. So I'd like to play some more of it. But one of the things that you frequently do in this game is pick up and delivery, and it's a lot of fun. because oftentimes in order to be successful at that, you have to make sure that your character is built up and that your ability to traverse certain, radioactive landscapes is in place. And you've got all these different things that you're trying to do in order to deliver on whatever the quest objective is.
I think I've played this.
Have you?
As soon as you mentioned trying to go over the toxic wasteland, I was like, well,
not to be confused with Wasteland Express delivery service,
right?
But yeah, this one's fun. You would recognize
Maybe
it.
I'm confusing the two
because it's set in Australia, so the map is a big map of Australia. It's kind of hard to miss or mix up, I guess I would say.
Yeah,
it's fairly distinctive. But again, depending on the mission that you play, pickup and delivery has a strong mechanism in this one, and it's a lot of fun. This is just a highly enjoyable game. Character creation, adventure, good story.
Looking at the map, I definitely haven't played this one.
Oh, okay.
I need to.
Yeah. You would like this. You would like this quite a bit.
All right. One that I got that I really was excited about, but so excited that I opened the box, took out the rules, put the rules back in the box, and never read the rules. But this is Evacuation. So Evacuation...
I was going to say, based on that description, it could have been
anything.
Any number of hundreds of different games, really.
So Evacuation, the whole theme of the game is Earth is dying, and we are moving to establish life on a different planet. And so you are divesting your company and all your goods on Earth while trying to reinvest those on the new planet. So you have to keep stuff alive and working on Earth for as long as you can. So as long as it's profitable, while moving resources and stuff to the new planet and hopefully establishing work there that is going to help fund moving the rest of your stuff from Earth. Really great idea and theme, but apparently not good enough for me to continue to read the rules. But and another game that I really want to get to the table with you guys, we started a while back. We started playing, it's a legacy game, Pandemic Legacy Season 2. And in this game, it changes the elements of the game from Season 1 to Season 2, where you're trying to gather resources and get them to some destinations so that you can recon and do some other things. I really enjoyed Pandemic Season 1, but Pandemic Season 2 for me had the whole world's blacked out, right? Because there's been no communication.
Had that discovery element that you like.
Yeah, I really enjoy that discovery element that comes with that. And so I think Pandemic Season 2 might be my favorite of the Pandemic games. And definitely over Zero. Season 0 was probably the weakest, but I still enjoyed it. But yeah, I think Pandemic Season 2 was probably my favorite for that discovery reason.
Excellent. Well, those are the ones that were on my list to talk about. I am super excited to talk about our top fives because I think we've got some really good ones. And we'll look forward to hearing everyone's top fives, or I will look forward to hearing everyone's top fives next week.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
Excellent. Until next time.
We'll see you picking up some games and delivering them to your table and having some great times.
Thank you for listening and being a part of Meeple Nation. If you would be so kind as to follow, subscribe, share, and rate or review this podcast, it really helps to spread the fun. You can be more involved in supporting the podcast by joining the nation at patreon.com/Meeple Nation, or you can find a link at the top of our webpage, meeplenation.com. And while you're there, look at all our extra content. There are links to all our past episodes, a wide variety of blogs, pictures from our Instagram feed, and bios for all the hosts and our awesome bloggers. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all under Meeple Nation. If you would like to chat with the hosts or other members of the nation, you can join our Facebook group, Meeple Nation Off Air. We hope to see you again at a game night, a con, or maybe a suspense-driven evening of werewolf. Thank you for listening and supporting Meeple Nation, and stay tuned for next week's episode.
Thank you so much for listening. We very much want to thank our patrons who help keep the podcast running. I personally want to thank my co-hosts for all the help they provide with both content here on the podcast, in addition to what we have available on our website. Without them, the podcast would not happen. If you too would like to support the podcast, you can join the nation at patreon.com patreon.com/Meeple_Nation. Or you can find a link to Patreon at the top of our webpage, meeplenation.com. If you have any questions, comments, or games you feel should be on our radar, you can always reach us at meeplenation@gmail.com. We can't wait to hear from you. I am grateful to Doug and Andy who helped me edit episodes, and I want to thank James and Kim Clark who do the editing on our blogs and on our webpage, which can be found at meeplenation.com. We want to thank Brain Detergent for our music. If you want to find more from him, you can follow his links that can be found on our webpage, or simply search for Brain Detergent on YouTube to find more of his tracks. Thank you again for listening and being part of the Meeple Nation community.